welcome to Dear Katie, the podcast that amplifies courageous voices and real stories of resilience, healing, and hope after trauma. Inspired by the many letters Katie has received over the last 20 years, each week she interviews survivors, healers, and experts to honor their stories and explore the many paths to healing and hope. Before we begin, please know, many episodes of Dear Katie cover sensitive topics related to sexual violence, trauma, and recovery. Listen with care and take the space you need to take care of yourself. Your well-being is what matters most. Now, let's join Katie and today's guest for a conversation that matters.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Dear Katie podcast. You all know me as Katie Kestner, your host along this incredible journey with every one of our survivors, our guests. I've just been encouraging everyone to get out that journal, keep it going, find tidbits along the way with every guest. I feel like I learn too. Just always self-care is critically important. If at any moment, just push pause, get some fresh air, take a break and come back whenever you're ready. We will be right here with you. And you are going to love my guest. Jenna has done so many different things in her life. So I'm just going to start out. I don't know exactly how to say your last name, but it might be Ghisolfo?
Ghisolfo, yes. Very Italian.
All right. So Jenna is the founder and CEO of Housing Consultants of America. This is a national consulting firm dedicated to help individuals experiencing homelessness move off the streets and into safe and stable housing. So incredible. With over 18 years of experience in the affordable housing industry, she partners with property owners, nonprofits, and housing agencies across the country to ensure compliance while expanding access to housing for vulnerable populations. What a hero. Jenna is also a national speaker and advocate for domestic violence survivors. She uses her voice to raise awareness about housing stability and crisis resources. She is a former Section 8 resident herself, and she brings both professional expertise and lived experience to her mission. She is also, fun fact, currently serving as the United States of America's Mrs. Arizona. Yeah. Using her platform to empower, inspire, uplift everywhere across the incredibly large country and diverse country we have. So, oh my gosh, Jenna, you've done so many good things. It's such an honor, and it's so exciting to talk with you about, all of these, how you got from place to place and the incredibleness of your life and your bright smile as we look on the camera.
Well, it's such an incredible journey, and I'm so excited to share it with you and your audience today.
Yeah. Well, we can't wait to learn more. So, where did you grow up? Where were you when you started this life?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised here in Arizona. I'm a proud Arizona native. I gotta love my hot summers and my Arizona sunsets. So grew up here with a large Italian family. Obviously, I still kept the Italian last name even when I got married. I couldn't get away from it. And so Italian pride and family was such a big foundation for me that it's almost interesting that when my life took a total turn at 17, you would have never expected me to have had this life, this incredible family-centric, incredible life growing up, to then all of a sudden being in a domestic violence situation.
Yeah.
And those are stories we hear all the time.
Yeah. So when you were younger, did you have lots of siblings? Did you have that? I always picture Italian families as a mess.
So funny thing is, my sister and I've only got one sibling. We're the only females for our generation. So I've got all these male cousins. We are a close-knit family. So while I don't have a lot of siblings, I can tell you between actual family and family friends that we adopted within the Italian circle here in Arizona, I've got so many adopted families that it's crazy.
Okay, so I guess you grew up kind of with this entire network of family.
Yeah.
Did you also did you go to public high school? Did you?
No. So I went to a private all-girls Catholic high school here in Phoenix. I mean, it couldn't get more Italian than that.
I was like, oh wow, you fit every stereotype.
Literally, yes,
Yeah.
with the nuns and everything, we got it all.
And you had your dad, was he the stereotype, like overprotector?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And Sunday meals were essential, and everybody was there on Sunday nights for family dinners. It didn't matter what you were doing, you were there. It just became, and still is to this day, my community, my network, my family that I'm so proud to have had stand by me through all of that.
Oh, that's amazing, amazing. So, so you go to Catholic high school, and then did you go on to college after, or what happened
I
next?
eventually went on to college right when I was transitioning from high school to my freshman year of college. That's when my domestic violence situation occurred, and I did not progress until years later when I went back to college to get my degree.
Well, let's talk about. I mean, I think, there's so many of us that I host, like your story is at 17, mine's at 18.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this like transition and vulnerable period that I think my dad's a German, not Italian, but he was pretty protective. So,
Yeah.
Plus he was FBI, so it was even worse.
Oh,
he was like
from every angle.
But so in high school you went all girls, so you didn't have, your boyfriend did not go to this school. Like how did you two meet?
Yeah, so great question. So within high school, and I actually met him right out of high school. So the high school that I went to was all girls. Right next door was the all boys school. So even though they were separated, they were campuses, directly connected. But I had actually met my abuser in Lake Tahoe, of all places, where I was staying over the summer. And it was a summer vacation that we all took. And it was one of those situations where in high school, I wasn't really interested in boys, if that makes sense.
That sounds good, Jenna.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Such a distraction. Here's like my take on that is I went to co-ed, okay, but like I like had this mindset. It was big. Like there were like almost 800 kids in one grade.
Oh,
so there are plenty of boys, but I was competing against them, Jenna. So I was like, I'm not dating any boy who goes to my high school because I can't be friends with him. Like I'm going to be, I would only date the smart ones, and therefore they're competition. So I had this like import export of boyfriends. Like I meet them at church. I met one on a ski slope. It's
my God.
Yeah, so I kind of like made my mindset like I'm at a Catholic school where I don't date anyone.
Yes.
So I hear you, and I didn't have that much time. Like I was really intense. It sounds like you were too, though.
Yes. Well, and I was also a competitive figure skater growing up, so my time after
school was dedicated.
Yes, no time to that. It was I wanted to be an Olympian. I wanted to tour on Disney on Ice when I grew up. I didn't even know what Section 8 was in high school.
Oh.
And then here this is my entire life. Yeah, I wanted to do Disney on Ice. If I could be Pocahontas, I would be Pocahontas all day long.
You're like, I can see you Princess on Ice now.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, like pirouetting and
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But
it's such a good foundation, like to be. I feel like when you're really, I mean, now it makes not that it didn't make sense, but that intensive like commitment that you grew up with, I think has probably carried you along the way because you know what it takes to make go of a dream.
Correct.
Right?
To put in that hard work, even if it means getting up at 3:00 in the morning or sacrificing, your you time, you learn. You absolutely learn along the way.
Yeah. Yep. Well, okay. So anyway, so he was at the boys' school and you were on the trip?
He was not at the boys' school. Nope. Okay. I just met him over the summer when we were in Lake Tahoe. And it was one of those things where, all of a sudden I was like, well, maybe now I am interested in boys. Like I just, this going into my freshman year of college, a switch went off in me. And unfortunately, I was very naive since I had not dated, to the point where I was taken advantage of. And the control started so slowly and gradually that I can tell you, I, looking back on it now, recognize the signs. In the middle of it, had no clue. No
But
clue.
when you met him, what were some of the things you liked about him initially? Do you
He
remember?
was charming, flattering. It supported my big dreams. It just seemed like a perfect match, like your best friend, this connection that we had. And then slowly it wasn't. It was slowly well, we're going to disassociate you from your family, from your friends. We don't want you to think as big or dream as big, because then that potentially mean you could leave this relationship. There were so many little signs along the way before it became physically abusive that I should have seen those signs. To the point where I remember just one day sitting in my room going, something's not right here. I don't feel empowered anymore. I don't feel driven anymore. This isn't the same Jenna as 6 months ago, who not only wanted to go to college, but wanted to be on Disney on Ice, who had all these big dreams. So all of a sudden I'm confined and I have no dreams. I've got no goals. I'm going nowhere in life. What happened? And then slowly I just started trusting him more, that it was I just thought that this is the way a relationship should have been. I really did. And that's when things started to go sideways, where it was small little things it began with verbal abuse, of just calling me names, putting me down. And of course, then my self-esteem starts to go down. So I cope with that by eating. So I start putting on weight. I'm eating to control my feelings, which is not a healthy coping mechanism. And slowly then because I was gaining weight, that abuse began to just go even bigger, because all of a sudden I wasn't attractive anymore. I was no longer the Jenna that he remembered, because I was coping in a different way. So then it became sexual, to the point where I was just, I couldn't even tell you what was going on in my life and who was coming in and out our doors. And it wasn't a relationship. I knew at certain points when I was being forced to have relations with other people that I didn't even know, going, wait a minute, this is not healthy. This is not a normal relationship. And that's when I started saying, okay, something's not right. I reached back out to my family, who was so happy to obviously have this connection with me and even hear from me, since they had not heard from me. And
how long? So just the time span you just described, Jenna, was it like months, years?
A year and a half, because in that year and a half, I had a little over a year and a half. So I take it back; it was about 2 years. A year and a half where it was really, really bad. The total relationship was 2 years long. In that time, I got pregnant with my son, and so now at the end of the tail end of this now 2 years, I've got an infant that I'm now responsible for, as well as taking care of myself. And that's when I think it really hit me of, oh no, this isn't just my life anymore. I'm responsible for this infant's life. I cannot have my son growing up with this mentorship. This is not a healthy relationship for him to see. So I will tell you, it was the day after Christmas, and I had found out again that my partner had cheated on me, was doing all this stuff that he should not be doing, a hidden phone. I mean,
oh no.
I was just playing such mind games with me, to the point where there was nights where I'd hear buzzing all night long, and I thought I was losing my mind, and it was a hidden phone that he had the entire time. where he was having all these text messages and arranging things. And it was just a whole other life that he had formed. So with my son, the day after. Go ahead.
Before, did you guys ever get married, or you were just living together?
We did get married. Again, my family had nothing to do with the wedding. They weren't even invited. It was,
oh wow,
there were like 5 people there because it was this thing where he didn't want my family, he wanted my family as removed from me as possible. Because if I was around my family, I was going to start thinking for myself again. I was going to start noticing things weren't right. So he cut off all access to my family, my friends, coaches, you name it, everything got cut off. Everything.
And was he your a similar age? Was he Italian?
There was a 7-year age gap, so he's 7 years older than me. Wasn't Italian, was a mix of all different nationalities.
Okay, that's helpful, just so I can like picture the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And so this now the day after Christmas.
Yep, day after Christmas, I find out he's cheating again, and all I remember is I'm sitting in the fetal position against the wall, crying my eyes out because I don't know what to do. Christmas for Italians is such a big family event and family time spent together, and I didn't spend it with anybody. I didn't spend it with my family. I was alone. And so I think the emotions were really hitting me hard that day, on top of finding out again that my partner had now cheated on me. And his mother came over. She found out, and I can't remember how she found out he had cheated on me. She came out. She found me in the fetal position. She put her arms around me, and she goes, "It's time for you to go home." And that was it. That was it.
Goodness.
And that was the trigger that I had to hear. I packed all my belongings up that night. She coordinated for him to be out of the house for 24 hours, not knowing what was going to happen. And I packed up as many belongings as I could in garbage bags, in suitcases, literally whatever I could find. I packed up our belongings, grabbed my son, and moved into Section 8 housing that very next day.
Oh my gosh, Jenna.
So that's where I got my start.
And if I'm reading that, it sounds like his own mom knew that he was the problem.
Yep, absolutely.
That's even more terrifying and sad. Like, that's so awful.
I know. So it was almost like I needed an outsider to finally say to me, enough is enough. Like, this is your sign. You're looking for it. Here you go. So yeah, I'm forever grateful for those few words that she had with me. And moving into Section 8 housing, it was.
Tell us more, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners won't know.
So what Section 8 housing is it's where you only pay 30% of your monthly income. So if you have no income, you don't pay anything in rent. If you're only making a couple $100s, you're only paying 30% off of that couple $100. The government then subsidizes the rest, or the remaining balance of your rent, which is fantastic to allow individuals who are trying to get back on their feet financially, reestablish their lives. And that's exactly what I was trying to do. It gave me a second chance. But I think when people think of Section 8 housing, they tend to think of dilapidated, warped housing, very low income, impoverished community, and that's not what it is. Well, there's definitely certain communities that maintain those statistics and that definition. It's not where I was living. Where I was living was a community. It was people who just simply weren't making hundreds of thousands of dollars. They were living off of Social Security only, maybe, and just down on their luck or making minimum wage. So I really found my voice again living there. And then ultimately that apartment complex was hiring. So I was working at Pier 1 or, one of those places, and they when I went to go pay my rent, they had a hiring sign. I thought, well, can't hurt. This would be an easy commute. Don't have to go far every day. And I got hired on, and it was so beautiful seeing new residents move in and hearing their stories of why they needed Section 8 housing to start their lives over, what their stories were, that I knew I had to dedicate my life to giving other people the same second chance that I was then given.
That's incredible, Jenna. And how long, it was a pretty quick transition that you got to start working there?
Yeah, it was within a few months that I moved in. I wasn't even there long, and the hiring sign was up. So it was definitely, it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. And in terms of being now a single mom, how did you juggle the job with childcare?
Yeah. So I no. So I mean, he was occasionally helping, but I think for my own recovery, I had to put up some barriers and protection for me and for my son for a while until I felt safe enough to allow him back into my son's life. And that took about 8 months to 12 months, where then he was really allowed to then see his son, and then have that relationship on just a different basis, but with me being a little bit more reserved and healed up.
Did you have to get a protection order from
No, I did not. Thankfully, I did not. We were able to work it out with attorneys, but not even having to go down with the route of a protection order. So I was definitely blessed.
Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah.
And so now you're working and you're learning. It sounds like it's so heartening to know all the stories. That's why I feel like knowing stories is so helpful. Everyone has one.
Well, and that's the thing is, I've now been doing this for 19 years. There are still new stories that I am hearing that surprise me to this day. While I hear some of the same stories, I lost my job, I'm down on my luck, little things like that. It's incredible to really hear some of the other stories of families where they simply just lost a job and they got evicted from their rental house that they were living in. They've been living in their car for weeks, and now where do they go? And so my team and I work all across the nation to help these individuals say, okay, you're homeless. We've got local resources where we can either get you into a shelter, a Section 8 place, a hotel. We've got the resources, and sometimes we've even got apartment complexes that are coming to us saying, we've got 100 vacancies. Fill these with homeless individuals. And that's one of our favorite stories, because then we just get to, you're taking 100 people that are living off the streets and giving them keys, sometimes for the first time in decades. It's incredible.
So before we get into more of the details of the business itself, can you explain so you're working at this apartment complex, and then how do you start coming up with the idea for the business itself?
Yeah, so I progressed in my knowledge, obviously starting off at the bottom and kind of working my way up to the top. And I have then been working for, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many years. This must have been 7, 8 years ago. So I've been in the industry for 10, 12 years at this point. And I realized I wanted to be able to help more than one company at a time, because when I work for one company, my services are limited to this company. What if I were to say, I can help 5 companies at the same time, because I've got the time, I've got the capacity. So I branched out to say I was going to help just 2 companies at first. That was my goal. And I did 2 companies that I supported for a year, and then realized I could do more. So I started bringing on a few more and a few more. And then, of course, I hit my capacity, right? Like we all do. But I didn't want to stop. And so I started hiring on individuals that had the same experience as me. And now we've grown to 22 employees that we now have, with over 80 people on our interest list that are ready to go if we had the need.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah.
It's so empowering. I think that I'm just guessing that in the process of your healing, you're growing, as a
Yeah.
whole new skill. So maybe, I don't know, do you feel like that was helpful? Did it feel like a place to put your pain? What
Yeah.
can you describe
Yeah.
that? You're doing two things at once. Plus, you have
Yeah.
a son.
Yeah, of course. And single parenting, is you're dedicating part of your life to your child because you've got to take care of them. They're young. My son was still an infant, and through that time, I had to do a lot of healing. That was everything from intensive therapy to journaling, relearning how to have healthy relationships with healthy boundaries. That is one of the hardest things that I had to learn, was really reestablishing healthy boundaries during a relationship, and that took numerous success and failed stories, because it wasn't something that I learned through my parents. I had to learn on my own, essentially. And I'm not one of those that read books to learn. I'm one of those that just likes to learn the hard way, of course. Uh, and it was just learning that there were things that I was okay with in a relationship, and there were other things that I was not okay with in a relationship. Um, and as I grew and I became older, I learned that I could start trusting men a little bit more. I could open up a little bit more and have deeper conversations, and feel comfortable having some of these conversations about my past to some of these men. And also, being a single parent and dating is not easy. It is
Right.
not easy.
When you would try to set, like in the trial and error period,
Mm-hmm.
can you remember? I know you said there were ups and downs and like things that were hard or not, but do you feel like sometimes you were thinking, oh, I should have done this a different way, or my partner at the time, wow, they are terrible, they didn't react well? Like, how would you describe, because that's the delicate balance of like, when we're in trauma and healing, our partner may or may not know that and may have no clue how to respond. So if
Absolutely.
you could give us some of those like moments and like examples, I think that would be super helpful. So
Yeah.
others like, yeah.
So I call them trigger moments, where it's something that your partner does that triggers you to remember something from your past. And they don't do it we hope they don't do it intentionally.
Right, right.
But a lot of the times when I was in these new relationships, I would have these trigger moments. And so I would have to reassess, wait a minute, did they do this unintentionally, intentionally? Do they know about my past? They don't know about my past, so obviously they didn't mean to do this. But some of those came down to small little things of just simple touches. Even certain places on my body that I couldn't be touched because it felt uncomfortable to me, and I just put up my guard instantaneously. Other things would be, I wouldn't feel comfortable speaking up or voicing my opinion initially in a relationship. And that could be as small as, where do you want to go to dinner tonight? I didn't even feel comfortable answering that and saying, I'd rather go to Mexican over Italian. I didn't feel like I had the power or the voice that I should have in a relationship to know that it's okay to voice your opinion as to where you want to go to dinner. You're not making life or death decisions here. These are small little things. So I had to learn along the way that it was okay to not only trust my partner, but trust myself. And there are still moments to this day where, now even me being married, my husband might say things and I have to reframe my mind, because I know I go back to those old mindsets and those old thought processes. Thankfully, I've healed enough to, yes, I might have those moments, but I will catch myself immediately now and say, okay, wait a minute, this is just a moment that'll pass. It wasn't intended this way. You're overanalyzing things along those lines.
Yeah, wow. Thank you for sharing that, Jenna. That was super helpful, because I feel like some people don't realize that those are all normal feelings. Like,
Absolutely.
right? I think they might feel like, oh my God, what is wrong with me that I can't get through this or get past it?
No,
But
nope,
yeah.
not at all. Not at all. And everybody has different trigger warnings. I've got a colleague of mine who's going through something similar. She can't handle certain smells, such as cigar smoke, because that triggers her and reminds her of her past abuser. Little things that will come up that you don't realize that you have to work through, that sometimes are unrelated to the abuse.
Right. Yeah, or somehow like you didn't know they were related.
Correct, right? Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I guess in terms of maybe anything else that you found really helpful along this way, other than, being so successful with the work and the career, were there any other things that you were trying that were or weren't helpful in terms of healing?
I would say the biggest thing for me was reminding myself that self care was so important, because I had stopped doing it for such a long time. And that really then brought me back to myself and making sure I was taking care of myself first before an infant child. That
Mhm.
took a long time to reestablish. And even from the smallest little things of, oh, I'm actually going to use lotion today. Like, I had to relearn little things to take care of myself, because I wasn't doing it. I absolutely wasn't
Yeah.
doing it.
Oh, wow. And did you just do that instinctively, or do you think you read something along the way? Like,
No,
how
I
did
don't
you?
know why. I know that it was instinctively along the way. I knew I had to get back to my old self, and these little things were making me feel like the old Jenna, and so I slowly started adopting them, and
Okay.
ultimately that's what led me to where I am.
And did you? Yeah. And then another thought was, since you have the son in common, were there times when he would try to do anything that made you really uncomfortable, or was it pretty much a smooth path
No,
forward?
that would have been so easy if it was a smooth path forward, but no, it was unfortunate that we just had such a hostile relationship that even, I mean, oh my gosh, probably up until 5, 10 years ago, it would still be aggressive. Every time he has communication with me or had communication with me, it was always aggressive, or there's an undertone of attacking. And it's just unnecessary. And
Mm.
I had to learn that was just his way of still trying to poke the bear, even all these years, and still trying to have that control. But like we talked about, through the healing of over years, it fell right off of me. It stopped
That's
bothering me.
great. That's such a good skill set, Jenna. I
Yeah,
was just thinking when and that's, I don't know, I wish we could just somehow package that up and give it out as presents, because it's really hard to have someone who is never going to change. Their
hmm
habits and their patterns of behavior are toxic, hostile, damaging, and yet you have to allow this person to be in your life to some extent. It's like really rough.
Exactly. I mean, it's horrible, especially being the parents of your child. You're going to have them in your life for the rest of your life, no matter what. So how can we have a decent relationship? Well, I can tell you the end of the story, which I don't even think is that it's been about a year. He actually went to prison for some other issues.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I know. So I have not had communication with him for almost 2 years, and it's been glorious, absolutely glorious. But yeah, he went down another path, a very damaging, destructive path, and karma paid the price. So he's in
My
prison, and
goodness. Jenna,
it's
I'm like,
kind of like,
woo!
I know that's exactly what it was. It was like
I don't
retribution
know.
for me.
That's never. It's never good to wish that much harm on anyone. But I'm like, wow, I was, as you were telling me, honestly, I was like, there are people that we in all of our lives that we know are just there to harm and hurt. And when you said, I loved it when you were talking about the boyfriend attempts along the way, and they would see something that's triggering and you were like, was that intentional or not?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people, even like all over, who are not that careful or don't care to be careful about others' feelings, right?
Mhm.
And their ego is built around just putting other people down or making sure they feel superior all the time. And I just admire. I was thinking like what strength you have with your son, because
Mhm.
and then I was going all places. Like, I'm like, oh my God, how many times did you ever worry? Like, is he going to be like him? Like,
Well,
does he, like,
absolutely.
how did you like make sure this boy is going to be the best boy in the whole darn world? Like, how are you doing that part
I
too? How old is your
surround
son now?
So now he's 19, and right now he's getting ready to be. Are you ready for this? A sheriff for the county here in Arizona. I
Oh my
know
God, he's
that's
a
the career path that he wants. So he
hero! Oh, I'm
knows
so happy.
the police academy. I know. So I knew that I had to surround him with good male role models, and that's exactly what I did. Is
So
I just
brilliant.
I poured
Oh,
my
Jenna.
family onto him and just family community, and gave him some incredible role models that he could see. Might not be your actual dad, but these are some incredible men that you've gotten to see help raise you. So I think that's what really allowed him to aspire to have a career, to wanting to be a sheriff for the Maricopa County Department. Like,
Mhm.
I'm so proud of him that this is a career path that he's chosen, because he could have chosen anything really. But his dedication to justice and law is really quite beautiful.
That's amazing. I'm
I
so
know.
happy to hear that. I'm happy. That's a great ending,
I
that he's
know.
chosen to be the hero for real in real life.
Right. I know. And
Yeah.
he's got the physique for it too. He's perfect. He's perfect.
Oh, good. That's fantastic. Well, maybe we could talk. I'm like, I feel so much better now. Like I was wondering about all those things, but I'm certain, it's so helpful to know that what you were doing with the nurturing part along the way has helped him
Mhm.
become like very clear minded about the importance of standing up for others when they've been hurt or harmed, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's showing him what true role models are, whether it's in a family setting, in a community setting, and that's what he's really taken away. But it's also showing him what a good father figure should be, and what a healthy relationship looks like from an outside perspective. So he's gotten to see me in and he doesn't remember obviously that relationship because he was too young, but he's gotten to see me in relationships along the way and progress as I've grown. But I can say in my marriage right now, he is seeing such uh, he's gotten such guidance from my husband that it's beautiful to watch them interact and just see all of these blessings and this wisdom being poured from my husband now into my son. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Does your so when let's talk about the husband. Did he have any marriage before
Yeah,
or
so he was married. He had two kids. When I had met him, I had been remarried again and had a child and divorced. So I at that point had two kids and wasn't honestly even looking for a relationship. My husband had actually used the excuse that his business was trying to get into Section 8 housing to have a reason to talk to me. And
oh, very
so we
cute.
started connecting. Yep, and it was love at first sight. We knew instantaneously there was a connection there. But what's so great is he was very mature in his relationships, but also in his children were grown. So he had a lot of wisdom in both relationships and parenting that I was able and still am able to lean into and use as some guidance.
That's fantastic. And I know, and that sounds like you said sparks right away. What are some of the qualities that are for our listeners or supporters? Like sometimes people listen who are trying to learn how to support a survivor. What are the things that he does that you're like, oh, it's so perfect when?
It was honestly when we go to have disagreements, that's where I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is a different relationship. This is different level here. Because he would take time and go, okay, well, wait a minute. What are you really upset about? How can we analyze this? What can I do to change the outcome of this situation? Or what did I do to hurt your feelings or to make you feel this way? He would turn arguments
That sounds great.
around. I know. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I don't even know how to have an argument anymore. That if we're going to analyze this and really have adult conversations, I need to up my game here. And so it became a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy relationship. And I've had to work with him so much because I can tell you at the beginning, I would fight him on like, no, we're not going to analyze our arguments. I'm not going to do that. Like I'm going to stick my feet in the ground. And he would, laugh it off and say, okay, I'll give you 5-10 minutes to cool down and we'll try this again. He just knew how to handle me in a way that I know my Italian hot-headedness can sometimes flare up, and he could just handle it. Still can.
That's great. That sounds perfect. I guess I wanted to make sure we get through. You're talking about your book too, Jenna.
Yes.
But before we talk about that, just really quickly, what possessed you to do the Mrs. Arizona?
So I was actually
helping. Like I don't even know anything about it.
Yes, it's crazy. So I was actually helping out a homeless shelter do a fashion show, and we recruited current queens to come model for us. Because of course, what a great way to sell some product and promote your organization than having current queens there. And they were talking to me afterwards, and they said, you really should compete. And I was like, I'm not a pageant girl. I've never even thought of doing pageants. And they said, no. So I started following these women along their journey and noticing it wasn't just about the gowns that they wore. They were actually doing community events and making a difference in their communities. And there was a sisterhood behind it. So I registered for my first pageant about a little over a year ago. And thought, okay, let me give it a go. I placed 4th in that pageant. It was my first one. I was like, all right, we're going to see how we're doing. And then one of my girlfriends said, you need to check out United States of America's pageant because they're a little bit different in terms of sisterhood. They're more about sisterhood. They're about empowering, inspiring, and uplifting women. Very female empowerment. So it's more centered about what you do. So I reached out to them, and in July, I was titled Mrs. Arizona. Of last year, I was titled Mrs. Arizona, and 2 weeks ago, I went to nationals and placed top 6 in the nation and won the People's Choice Award. So I at nationals. I was so happy.
That's fantastic. I love how you said it's a sisterhood, and then community service.
Oh, and that's what people don't expect about pageantry is they think it's just the glitz and the glam and the dresses. And while it is a lot about that, I now have well over a good 30 new sisters that I made good connections 2 weeks ago, from Alaska to New Jersey to Florida. These women are all across the United States, but these are some, as I like to put it, community impact makers. They're movers and shakers in their communities, which is just nice to see women standing behind what they believe.
Yeah, and being able to be supported and hopefully more successful.
Yeah.
So is the book that, so tell us about the book. You said it's almost available.
It's almost available. Yep. It's just was finished being copywritten. So now it's just ready to be in production. It's called Still Standing in Heels. And it's about my journey going through my domestic violence situation, all the way progressing to now opening my own business and having a successful nationwide business. So it's a beautiful, beautiful story. Yes, yes. I'm super excited for it to hopefully be launched and ready to go here in the next few months.
That is perfect. Do you think you'll do a book tour or anything?
If I can, I will. Absolutely. Absolutely. But we haven't put anything in place just yet. Yes. Right now, it's just a national initiative. We're just waiting for some of the final touches so I can start having it put to print.
That is fantastic, Jenna. What a glorious life story you have. It's so full of like hard work and accomplishments, and just a kindness, also just a generosity and kindness. So I'm so glad we were able to connect and have you on the show. And we'll definitely put I'm sure we might be releasing this right around the same time as your book is out, so people can find it where books are published. Is there anything else you want to give empowerment or advice to our listeners around?
Yeah, I just like to remind anybody who is going through a current situation where they're in an abusive relationship that there are community resources available to them to help them get out of these situations, and they're free community resources. I know a lot of the times when we're in these situations, we feel isolated, that there are no solutions. There absolutely are a million nonprofits out there that are ready and willing to help you at a moment's notice, from getting you out of that situation to helping you with legal advocacy and small little things as to where you're going to find your next meal. So there are so many resources available to those that are looking to leave.
Yeah, that's a great last piece of advice. And actually, Jenna, you might not know this, but at Take Back the Night, we established the National Sexual Assault Legal Hotline. So we now have a free 24/7 intake with a network of about 400 firms that center on victim advocacy. So it's like to add to what you said, I just want our listeners just to be reminded it could be you're just starting out, you're not sure, but they'll give you a really thorough analysis and also resources in follow-up communication. So
good.
We're never alone. There's lots of people out there ready to help. I know. So, and including, I mean, talking about housing is just like the first step to freedom to me. Knowing that you don't have to stay in this scary, horrible, dark place, that you can go and live in a space of a room of one's own, as was called. So thank you so much, Jenna, and our listeners. Keep that journal going, and hopefully there were a few more things that you could write down and ideas from Jenna's conversation today. And we will see you again in just a week. But each and every day is another day we have to heal, grow stronger, and together we are thriving and surviving. So take care.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Dear Katie. These conversations are never easy, but they're always necessary, and we're so grateful you chose to share this space with us. If something in today's episode stirred something within you, please give yourself what you need. Whether that's rest, support, or just a deep breath, you're not alone. To hear more stories, resources, and survivor-centered conversations, be sure to subscribe and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. We want to hear from you, so please leave us a review and share your feedback. Your thoughts help us create episodes that resonate with listeners. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.